World of Sports.
We ran out of superlatives to describe the last meeting between Manly and Newcastle. That was, of course, last year's ARL Grand Final, won 22-16 by the Knights. And though that doesn't have anything to do with this afternoon's game, you can bet your life both sides have been dead keen to get another shot at each other. They have that opportunity on a glorious afternoon here at Brookvale. Since that fateful day in September, success has continued on for the Knights. They've won 6 games this year, although they did go down 26 points to 6 to Brisbane last round. For Manly, it's been a struggle, just 3 successes, and they were beaten by a big score last week by North Sydney, 32 points to 8. And Paul Vaughton, it's billed as the grand final replay, but realistically, 11 players running on today who didn't start in the decider. But I do think there will be some extra feeling anyway.
No doubt about it, Peter. Throw in the fact that it's Jeff Tuvey's 201st grade game. It looks good for the Manly side today, I think. The bottom line for Manly is they're currently running 15th on the ladder, which is very unusual for them at this time of the season. I expect a lot better performance today. However, one late change again. Terry Hill hasn't played the last couple of weeks. He's out again today. The team reads this way. Phillips, Hancock and Hunter comes into the side. Hopewadi and Torrens into the centres. Tuvey's the 5/8 and captain. Craig Field is halfback. Lock forward is Kossoff. Gardner, Menzies make up a strong back row. Taylor, Tierney and Sidaris is the hooker, and Bob Fulton is their coach.
And the Newcastle side reads this way. A return for Robbie O'Davis back to fullback. That's a boost for the Knights. Grogan, McDougall on the wings. Gidley and Craigie make up the centre pairing, with Matthew and Andrew Johns in the halves. The lock forward sees Billy Peden also come back from injury. That pushes Peter Shields onto the bench. Troy Fletcher, Wayne Richards, the second rowers. Paul Harrigan is the captain, alongside Tony Butterfield and Lee Jackson, coached by Malcolm Rewley. And Paul, big games are won by the forward domination, and we have quite a confrontation in this one.
That's right, Peter. One of Manly's form forwards this season has been their big prop, Neil Tierney. He's been in great form of late, the last 6 or 7 weeks, and he's aiming once again for State of Origin selection tonight. His big go is getting to the line and offloading, and Manly looking for him to do that today.
And he'll be taking on Tony Butterfield, second only to Mark Glanville, the amount of first-grade games played for the Knights. And in fact, the great Wally Lewis actually chose him in his test side this season. That shows the kind of form that Butts is in. Can you see an upset? Because for Manly to win, it would be.
I can, Peter. I think Manly can win. Newcastle have never won here at Brookvale Oval, and Manly have worked hard this week on their defensive problems, which showed up against North Sydney. I'm predicting a Manly upset win.
I can't see anything but a Newcastle victory. I thought they went pretty well against Brisbane last week, despite the 20-point margin. I think they will break that duck on a glorious afternoon here at Brookvale. The Knights up against the Seagulls. Here's Ray Warren.
Thank you, Peter. As Jeff Tuvey leads his Manly team out, he will make a solo appearance initially to recognise the young Manly champion for 200 first-grade games today. He made his debut in first grade in 1988. He's played 8 State of Origin games since then, 13 tests for Australia, and has captained Manly since 1993. He was graded from Manly by, or should I say, graded to Manly from Belrose. And now the rest of the Eagles file out behind this diminutive captain with the big heart. And what a day it would be for Manly to bowl over Newcastle. Nothing would be sweeter for them on this Mother's Day, 1998, and now Paul Harrigan leaves the sheds under an injury cloud. A team that includes Robbie O'Davis and Billy Peden. Both these sides beaten last weekend quite comprehensively. Newcastle by Brisbane, Manly by North Sydney. The Johns brothers are there. Robbie O'Davis is there, as I said. And so too is the big fellow, the Chief. 4 times they played last year. It was in the one that mattered that Newcastle got them at the Sydney Football Stadium in the grand final. Well, the big fella's on the sideline. G'day, Steve.
How you going, Ray? The big thing for the Manly Eagles today is motivation, and the revenge of that motivation after last year's loss in the grand final. I can tell you that a lot of people are underestimating this Manly side. Only think back to a few weeks ago when they defeated the Brisbane Broncos leading the competition. 19 degrees here, a light sou'wester. Should be a great game.
Thank you, Stephen. And at the top of the telecast, let's hope it's been an enjoyable day for all the mums, and the rest of it is just as enjoyable for you. Field kicks off for Manly. They're running left side against the defending ARL premiers. And bringing it back is Big Butterfield, 12 metres out from his own line.
I just noted, Ray, that Damien Brown has started the game instead of Joe Taylor, so an early change for the Eagles.
Well, Harrigan has taken it ahead like a wounded bull, and he's left Nick Kosef absolutely senseless back on the Newcastle 20-metre line. And now, as I look, another Newcastle player is on his back and bordering on unconsciousness. Another Manly player down, so two of them are down. So it's Newcastle on their first set with Johns sending it down for Phillips to bring it back.
And for the second player who went down for Manly, they've already called for the trainers to maybe get the stretcher ready as John Hopewade tackled. The referee will stop proceedings now. Plenty of concern. Looks like Jimmy Sedaris.
Let's have a look at the two incidents. Harrigan brings it out on the second play of the day, and that is Kosef. Absolutely poleaxed by Harrigan, and then Jim Sedaris gets his head in the wrong place and he cops a knee from Troy Fletcher.
I think the contact with the ground too didn't help matters. Bounced a couple of times. See the trainers there just look around the upper body. Try not to move him too much. Anthony Colella will be the player coming into the action. One of their stars during last year's semi-final run. Plagued by some back injuries this season.
So what a start, a disastrous start for Manly. Kosef and now Sedaris. Sedaris will be brought off. No score after a minute. We'll take a break and be back. Two players injured, one of them coming off, Jim Sedaris. And Colella has gone on for Manly as Tierney is pulled down just inside the Manly 40-metre line.
And Billy Peden has left the field for Newcastle as well as Jeff Tuvey finds a bit of space out of dummy half. Neil Pincinelli is in very early on.
Kosef seems to be okay. He was the dummy half on this particular play. And that is Colella. 8 metres into Newcastle's area. They go back for the kick from field. And the ball high, coming down towards O'Davis. He did well. But then again, we've expected that from Robbie O'Davis, haven't we? And the penalty goes to Newcastle. He's penalised Manly for players inside the 10 that were offside in front of the kicker.
And the man penalised was Craig Hancock, and you'll see him get hipped away. He's still down, receiving some attention. So the worst possible start for Manly as Harrigan winds it up.
Gartner takes him. Tierney comes over the top. Colella in 17, an assist in that tackle. Now Butterfield, the teeth gritted, taking it up solidly. Butterfield and Harrigan, they've caused plenty of damage. Now it's Johns, Matthew, getting it away for Fletcher. And they're 11 away from the Manly line. For Matthew again, and then Richards, wearing 13 for Newcastle. Peden in the side, playing at the back of the scrum. Andrew Johns looking menacingly. And pulled down eventually by Brown, who started the game, as Paul said, for Manly. And now Newcastle with Matthew Johns putting a cross-field bomb up. It's perfectly weighted, battered down. It's a try. O'Davis has put it down. Newcastle, first points. No problems with this one.
Well, if I said it was the worst possible start earlier with the injuries, now it's the worst possible start because points have been put on. Brett Brogan does very, very well here. Doesn't even try and catch the football. He just wants to bat it back to one of his own players. That's Robbie O'Davis. Catches the football, puts it down. Very simple but well executed.
And this would be a move that Newcastle would have practiced for at training time after time. The bat back, rather than going for the football with support. And the teammate there of Grogan O'Davis. Too easy for Robbie O'Davis.
It's really a play that has been accredited mainly to the Cronulla side. They are the champions of it. But Newcastle, that was absolutely perfect. You could rehearse it many times at training, but you wouldn't get it as sweet as that. The kick from Matthew Johns was absolutely perfect. Not a breath of wind, cloudless sky, and Newcastle 4-0. 15 in from touch on the hillside. Andrew Johns now back on the 20. Chance to take them to 6-0. The kick comes in. Oh, beautiful. Straight between the uprights. You don't get them any sweeter than that. The try and the goal. Newcastle over Manly 6-0, and the game is only 3 minutes old.
Well, that's exactly what the thing that gets me. It's only 3 minutes old. The chase from Manly, no good. Off the mark there from second marker. And up they go for the high ball, and that's pretty simple there for Robbie O'Davis. Just quickly, there's a couple of Knights carrying injuries into this game. Paul Harrigan has a knee problem, and also Andrew John. So just watch for those two.
This is Brett Grogan. And now Butterfield. Really takes it up hard. Butterfield. A couple of good judges reckon they wouldn't pick a side without him in it. And you can understand why when you see the effort that he puts into his game. Pinchinelli is on for Newcastle. Fletcher is the man with the football, and then Jackson with a blindside scamper joined in that rush down the right-hand side by Gidley. Now from Jackson for Andrew Johns. And he goes to the air very, very high, gives the runners plenty of time, and a great take by the Manly fullback, Phillip.
There's a dust-up in the background. Hopewadi and Tony Butterfield having a few words, and Hopewadi just slung him to the ground. Meanwhile, it's a penalty to Manly for offside for the Knights. The dust-up just finished. It's not going to find touch. Oh, tragic.
Oh, look at O'Davis. He came back with the football to Craig Field, and when he got to him, he put his foot down. He sprinted away from Field. And now they're out on their own 40-metre line.
So nice to see the touch judge remain where he was. There was nothing in that. This was one of them involved. I think Hopewadi's got him with a little short right there just to keep things going, but it didn't hurt play at all, and Touchy stayed out.
Fletcher. Butterfield and Hopewadi. Butterfield. Oh, here's Jackson with a fine break for Newcastle. Andrew Johns in support. Drifting across to the right. Now they straighten it up through Gidley. Gidley for O'Davis. O'Davis back for Gidley. Gidley floats it out for Grogan.
Oh.
He's over in the corner. That's a magnificent Newcastle try. They don't come any better.
Well, they don't get any better than that. Beautiful work. One missed tackle up the middle, saw Lee Jackson go straight up. I think it was Tierney who missed the tackle. I thought Andrew Johns might have been shaping to kick here, but he comes up with the flick pass to Matthew Gidley. Gidley finds Robbie O'Davis. Lovely pass from O'Davis, and then the select ball from Gidley to an unmarked Brett Grogan. Flirted with the sideline there, only improved it 2 or 3 metres. He still gets the ball down.
And the man who missed the tackle, Pete, was actually Damien Brown, the replacement. A bad miss too, right up the middle. And from here, it was a matter of did they have enough support players, Newcastle? And they just kept turning up. Manly's defence was there, but as soon as the defender got in line, another support player turned up. And I'm sure Mal Royley would like to see Grogan put that ball down as soon as he gets over that line in future.
What cockiness there from Grogan. Well, that's the confidence they play with, Pete.
Well, sometimes they go a little bit overboard, but on that occasion, the execution again was perfect. What about the involvement from Robbie O'Davis then? Caught the football, attracted 2 defenders, and nearly got rid of it in the one motion, and that gave the space out wide for the eventual try scorer.
How would you like to be a Queensland selector and leave one of them out of the run-on side? They'll have to pick them both, Paul, won't they?
Oh, look, I really don't think it's possible to leave Robbie O'Davis out of the Queensland side. He has saved so many tries for Queensland over the last 3 or 4 years. It's unbelievable, and he's just got to be picked. And, you know, I'd have Lockyer in the side somewhere as well.
So, Andrew Johns had a similar job with the conversion of the first try, which was scored by O'Davis. O'Davis has played a major part in this try. This was an absolutely superb rugby league try, one of the best I've seen this year. But Andrew is trying to convert from 20 out and 5 in. He's got it away nicely, it's there. Another 2 points to the Newcastle total. The fat man's head has gone down. Newcastle 12, Manly no score. Eagles, they've got one hell of a job to do. We've already described it as a disastrous start. Look at this man, Butterfield. They had two players absolutely knocked unconscious in the first minute. They lost Sedaris, and by the time they'd picked themselves up and dusted themselves off, they're down by 2 converted tries. This is Butterfield again. This is his second handle in this set of 6. If he's not leading the way, I'm not here. Now the kick from Andrew, willing it to bounce the other way. And then Phillips runs to Hancock. Hancock opens them up. Comes to O'Davis. O'Davis puts him away. Just into Newcastle's area. Now Kosef. He looks like he might be back with us now. Mick was one of those 2 players I mentioned. Hancock playing it back. Menzies in the headgear naturally. This is Taylor, is it? He was chosen to run on. He's on there now. Gartner found himself a dummy half, then away to Field, and Field is smothered in the defence of Neil Pinchinelli, I think it is. On the 40-metre line, Tuvey from dummy half. Gartner runs into a heavy tackle from Jackson in the front line. Harrigan coming in second. Tuvey complains. Goes behind Tierney as he picks up Field. Field puts a grubbing kick in. O'Davis hasn't touched it. It's gone over the dead ball line. It'll come back to the 20 for the restart.
And I do apologise to Neil Tierney calling the missed tackle on him in that last try. It was Brown. They do look fairly similar, and Robbie O'Davis got an awful bounce there. Fortunately for him and his side, he didn't touch it. There's big Neil Tierney getting his teammates revved up. Looking to keep him at this end of the field as Fletcher takes it off Jackson, picks
Blocker,
up.
what's the story with those injuries to the Manly players, and also Billy Peden? What happened there?
Yeah, firstly, Jim Sedaris, he's still a little bit cloudy. He's got concussion. They've got to give him 20 minutes and then see if he can continue in this game. Billy Peden has carried a knee injury into this game. He's twisted it again, but they assure us that he will be back.
Geez, he didn't last long, Billy Peden, did he?
No, I was very surprised that they started with him, actually.
He must have tripped over on his way out. Now Pinchinelli.
Maybe it's a good idea to start with him because he gets into the game straight away. A little bit tougher to come off the bench. As Newcastle with a good option out wide with
Richards with a big run inside the 30. The support's coming. He finds in the centres Craigie. Craigie gets a one-handed pass away. Matthew Johns floats it. Now they've got troubles. Manly again with Grogan. He puts a grubbing kick in. Manly's able to clean it up. Oh, they are playing razzle-dazzle stuff here, the Knights. Tierney has been bombarded, and look at them surging in. He's been forced in goal. Newcastle will get the football.
It's not just razzle-dazzle stuff, it's tough defence as well, but Manly actually presented that huge channel. Craig Field sprinted out of the line, and the Knights had no choice but to run the football. A great break from Richards, and the boys carried on. Look at all the Manly missed tackles. You know, that was their problem last week, missing too many tackles. And Grogan, a nice little chip in the end, but then Tierney tried to get it out and got smashed.
He got smashed by Andrew Johns and one or two other backs.
Harrigan carries it back. There's been no tentativeness about the Harrigan performance if he is carrying injury. Grogan pulled down on the second tackle. Butterfield, here he is again. Bang, crash. A runaway steam locomotive, and there is steam coming out of his nostrils. Now, penalty to Newcastle. Let's go to it.
I'm standing on the mark. I'm standing well early. All I asked you to do is come back to me. You stopped here. I called you. You got to get back. You were not.
And despite the fact that Newcastle would be tempted to run the football here, they must take the 2 points on offer. And this is what was needed by Newcastle after Harrigan offloaded. Butterfield taking it forward. The referee has told Jeff Tuvey in the next play to stay out of it. And he didn't to the referee's liking.
$12-0 Newcastle. That tackle on Neil Tierney was just incredible. I was just talking about the razzle-dazzle football from Newcastle, and then they've come up with an enormous tackle on Tierney. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. Here's Andrew from right in front. 30 out to make it 14-0. And believe it or not, the match is only 13 minutes old. There's the kick. He's been kicking beautifully. Puts it straight between the uprights. Another 2 points. Newcastle. 14. Manly. 0. And here's Tierney, hit by Andrew Johns and Matthew Johns. And they didn't need any help, but Jackson comes in for a slice of the action, and so does Butterfield. But the two boys, the two Johns boys, have done the job on their own.
Manly's problem so far, apart from the scoreboard, has been the lack of football they've had. Tackle count shows that Manly have had to make 49 tackles to the Knights 20. So as soon as they get some football in their hands, I think we'll see some good things happen from the Eagles.
This is Richards. Paved the way for a great run that ended with Tierney being grasped. Oh, Harrigan, that was delightful from Harrigan. Matthew Johns has pulled down 30 metres out from his own line. Playing it back for Jackson, and now for Richards. Richards had Fletcher with him. Menzies comes up in defence to put him away with the assistance of Kallela. Now to the right, down the blind side goes Butterfield, running at Hopawati. They've come into confrontation a couple of times. I'll just watch it as it goes away from the play the ball. Nothing happened. Jackson, in the meantime, has made good ground. He's lost the ball. It'll be a scrum.
Well, the marker defence at the moment for Manly is also leaving plenty to be desired, and that's why Lee Jackson has made a couple of very telling busts. Ball was actually knocked out there by Joe Taylor, knocked on by Lee Jackson. And as Harrigan leaves, we've got Glenn Grief coming in, so too Damien Brown for Neil Tierney.
Crowd today, I understand that it's Mother's Day and all of that, but my goodness, it's a disappointing crowd for the grand final replay. It must be of major concern to, I would imagine, the Manly club. This is Torrens, just outside the 30-metre line. Field for Menzies. Menzies had Phillips with him, opted to take the tackle, and Andrew Johns driving in with the shoulder. Now from Hancock. And this is Taylor. 73% of possession has gone Newcastle's way. That's what Paul Vorton was talking about. Mind you, here's Tuvey. I've seen Manly without the football for long periods of time, and the defence they set up in the last couple of years was exemplary. But, you know, it's very hard to defend against a team like this. They're like a team of kids in the park having a game of touch football and loving it. Almost showing off with the things they can do. Now, Field. Here's a chance for Manly. Brown. Is it any wonder that Sterlo found himself confused between him and Tierney? I don't know why he apologised. Now it's Gartner on the 10-metre line. Fletcher around the legs. Let's see what this Newcastle defence is made of. Field running it to the 10, holding it back, letting Menzies run a decoy. Then he swerves around and is picked off by Fletcher. Tuvey. Cossack. Now Gartner away from the first of the Johns brothers. Matthew made the tackle eventually with the help of Grief. Tuvey sweeping it back onto the left of the ground, and it's with Kallela, and Jackson is there. The ball comes out, and he might order this was a knock-on against Newcastle.
Yeah, another 6 coming Manly's way. Now they're starting to get that possession that Paul was talking about and hoping for. Got to think that Manly a strong chance here. This will be their 3rd set of 6 in a row. Lee Jackson trying to stop the pass being thrown by Kallela.
And they really did just need some quick hands there. They had a 2-man overlap out wide.
I'm not so sure that he's got the right ruling here. I'll come back to it. Here's the scrum won by Manly. Field going right across the ground, and eventually somebody tackled him. Gidley got him. Now, charged by Brown. Oh, good ball by Brown. Torrens. Torrens is over the line. It's a try. Good refereeing by Stephen Clark.
That's what the doctor ordered for Manly. Their first time down here inside the 20, and they've got the try. I'm sorry about that, Ray. I gave you the dummy there. I thought it was Gidley, but it was Wayne Richards who covered plenty of ground to get across to make the previous tackle. And this time another good offload, and he'll be happy about this, Damien Brown, because he was involved in Newcastle's second try. Robbie O'Davis vainly trying to get under the football to stop it being placed down. He couldn't do so. A nice offload here, attracting 2 defenders, in fact 3, with Butterfield coming in. Nice little pass to the try scorer, Torrens.
He's done well, Torrens. He's been a real find for the Eagles this year. Been biding his time in reserve grade. And Stephen Clark in the thick of the action there.
Well, the reason I gave him a rap, he got right down, he gave himself a worm's eye view, and we didn't have to go to the video referee. And it's not a bad debating point, I suppose. Should they go to the video referee all the time? That's the question that's being bandied about apropos this weekend of football. Butterfield comes off. Phillips with none from 2 last week against the Bears. And he is 20 metres in from touch, and he gets it easily. So Phillips converts the try, scored by Albert Torrens, and Newcastle lead Manly by 8 points. O'Davis puts us back in motion at Brookvale in front of a crowd of probably 13, 14, 15, somewhere around that mark, I would imagine. And it's a penalty going to Manly against the Newcastle defence, holding the tackled player down. And he's going to call Jackson back. Jackson was mouthing off. Let's go to Stephen Clark.
Right. Penalty was obvious, okay? You get into it, you talk to him as a captain, right? But what I don't want any of this stuff. We're going to be sledging them, and all we're going to do is cause blues, all right? We can do without it. We can do without it. That's not in the game, okay?
So Craig Field will benefit from the penalty.
And straight away, Lee Jackson taken off by Malcolm Murley. He's given away a couple of penalties early in this game. Danny Baderis comes into the fray, and Neil Tierney takes it towards halfway.
Pushing and shoving. This is Taylor. Harrigan came up and hit him, and Newcastle's got the football. Well, that was just a superb hit by Paul Harrigan.
Yes, Newcastle earned that football then with a big hit from the Chief.
Grief. Manly's 40-metre line. Fletcher. And a step around Tierney. Away now for Matthew Johns. And then Harrigan again, a hit and spin, looking to unload. Oh, he tried to slide an adventurous pass to O'Davis. Ball is propelled forward, so a scrum will see Manly with the loose head and feet. 14-6 Newcastle, 2 converted tries against 1.
And there's the competitor Jeff Tuvey is. He's the smallest bloke in the world, hanging around the legs of the biggest, and forced the ball loose.
Clippy Lyons on for Manly. A decoy was offered to him, then Torrens back for Lyons on the run around. A dummy to Hancock, and then it goes over the sideline, does it? No. Lyons had them baffled.
The referee was waiting for a call from the touch judge there as to why the ball was propelled out, whether it was a knock-on or stripped by the Newcastle players. Cliffy, well, he gets his side of the story across, but the touch judge disagrees. Brett Grogan down receiving attention as well.
Just going back to that incident before Manly scored that try, I was of the opinion that Jackson should have been penalised for the ball being stolen in a tackle comprising more than 2 players. I never did get back to it, but that's what the point I was going to make. It made no difference. Manly scored anyway. Now, it's with Grief. 5 metres into Manly's area. Richards has been running keenly. John's brothers, and then it's away for Gidley. 16 is on for Newcastle. You got a pronunciation on it, Pete? Here's Matthew showing it, turning it inside for Grief. Menzies comes away for Manly. Kosef. Lions. The pass wasn't good. Hopewadi. And look at them come in from everywhere to put Hopewadi down. 25 away from their own line, Manly. Gartner. Kosef. Good work. Now Hancock's with him, but he's losing him now. Inside for Hopewadi, outside for Hancock. And it comes to an end on the Newcastle 20. Tuvik. Kosef. Field. Lions. Menzies with him. Menzies. Inside. Gartner. 7 metres from the line. Phillips. Field. Oh, the pass was too high and Lions knocks on.
Well, they're now starting to get some football, Manly, and really playing some good football. Nick Kosef made that big bust down the left-hand side. And Cook Lions, unfortunately, his hands just let him down at the end there. Here it is, a nice dummy and a feint, and away he went. Had support all over the place, but to Newcastle's credit, their defence got back there. And I saw a great tackle by Andrew Johns on Daniel Gartner a minute ago, which saved the try. It was a beauty.
They were going to be hard to hold out. And Nick Kosef, he knew that. Newcastle sucking in the oxygen. Manly had them stretched. Now the Knights bring it off their own line. O'Davis. I see Billy Peden stretching. Has he gone out there yet? This is McDougall. Good ball. Craigie. Just beyond their own 30-metre line. Grief. One of the reasons Newcastle will be hard to beat in whatever they can compete in. A penalty goes to them. It's been stolen. Is the depth on the bench, particularly in the forward division. Blokes like Grief, Pinchinelli, Shields. Let's watch it. Taylor's the 10. And did it get any help? Tough call. And it was a touch judge call. Now Newcastle will take the tap. Badeiros, apparently, is how you pronounce it, number 16. He's on for Jackson. This is Grief. Just inside the 30. What are they going to do? Matthew Johns, and then angling back in came Peden. Just inside the 20. Badeiros for Richards. Richards hammered by Tierney. Loses the ball. Good tackle by Manly. Nothing more, nothing less. Lions showing it, and then put away just outside the 10 by Harrigan, who was not prepared to let Lions do any of the fancy stuff. Manly's number 14 is Hunter. And now Taylor. Almost to the 30. 14-6. The scoring rate has slowed down. Great field with another misdirected pass. Phillips put away back on his own 20. Manly bogging down on this set. A dummy half run from Field, and then a short ball for Tuvey. And that must be the fourth tackle as Hopewadi offloads, and Field drives it, but it might be too full. No, it's perfect.
Well, Newcastle just starting to lose the plot a little bit with their attacking game. Too many mistakes, too many forced passes. Craig Field looked as though he'd got this one wrong. I think it was going into touch on the full, but lands a metre in. And everybody gets a breather now. I'm sure that the message will go out from Malcolm really to value possession a touch more.
Friday week, the first of our State of Origin matches for 1998, the Harvey Norman State of Origin series. You'll see it live on the 9 network around Australia. Live and exclusive at 7:30 on Friday week. Newcastle work this scrum 30 metres off their own line, and the Johns brothers handle before McDougall goes stepping off his left foot 3-4 times, reaches the 40, steps off his right foot, and he will play the ball after a very good run 8 metres from the halfway line. Peter Shields is number 11, was in the chosen side. Now O'Davis working with Craigie, a little juggle from the centre. When Peden declared himself available and passed the fitness test, Shields went back to the bench. Handy player from the Reds. And now Harrigan to the 30 and put away. Taylor up the top. It was Kosef underneath, not 100%. Matthew Johns tried to put Richards through a gap. The ball goes down for Phillips to play the advantage. And then Phillips is taken by the Newcastle defence, mainly Badeiras. Tooby, a little dummy for Tierney before offloading for Lyons, who draws them in before giving Hancock a bit of a passage down the left. Lyons a dummy half, running from dummy half. 35 out from his own line. Picking up Tooby, playing his 200th first-grade game today. Put down by Shields, played back for Field, then away for Kosef. Kosef, a second man play. Torrens leaves it behind. Kosef picks it up, and it'll be a scrum. Newcastle's loose head and feet.
Well, everyone's trying to throw the magic pass out there today, and you know, when you've got defences like they are today, they're just not coming off. Just not enough patience being shown with that football.
Great day, as I said to you earlier, one of the most beautiful days Sydney can provide in the month of May. And this is Gidley. Just outside the 30. O'Davis was the dummy half. That means he's somewhere near the football in preparation for something. Ball played by Peden, O'Davis, and then Johns, and now Harrigan. And the ball goes back to the right. The 16 is Badeiras, and he's put away. A couple of metres inside the 20. Newcastle setting themselves up. Matthew Johns, a long pass to his brother. And Field is there with Lyons to put Andrew down. I fancy that might be the fourth tackle as it comes away from Richards to Matthew Johns, and then a bullet-like pass for O'Davis, who kicks to the outside, and Hancock was waiting for it. Popawati had to go down a narrow blindside, but was met by Gidley and Grogan gave himself up. He knew he had overindulged. He had a little look at the referee, and Clark said, "Gotcha," and gives a penalty to Manly to take the pressure off. 10.5 minutes of the first half remaining. Team number 15, Manly, up against team number 4, Newcastle. Tierney coming off a shallow run, reaching the halfway line. Now Daniel Gartner, and hit by the Newcastle defence and forced back to where he started from.
And this is the first time in a couple of weeks I've seen Daniel Gartner play without any strapping on the leg, so that's a good sign. He's featured fairly prominently, although he was a bit dusty coming out of that last tackle.
Kalella. Bit more of that wouldn't go astray. There's a Newcastle player injured, Glenn Grief. Getting back now, okay. These big forwards, these dummy half runs, they don't like it. Now, Matthew Johns scoops it up and looked to pass into one action, but had to play the ball. McDougall is into the action now. McDougall reaches the halfway line, banged down by Lyons over the top of Tierney. Played back for Jackson. Jackson knew there were no markers. He pinches another 10 metres and takes it 38 metres away from the Manly line. Shields, the pass goes away for Andrew Johns to Matthew. Matthew cuts out a player, puts the ball on the chest of Gidley, and Gidley has put down 30 off the Manly line. Grogan, the dummy half, back now for Matthew, and then across for Richards. Richards gets it across the 30-metre line, and that's tackle number 5. Now from Jackson. They've played the ball very quickly on this set. Andrew Johns puts a grubbing kick in. Oh, Craigie! Craigie! Can he get the ball down? The referee was unsighted. The touch judge wasn't, and he'll go for the video referee. Well, it was absolutely beautiful what they did.
And again, we look at the reaction of the players involved. Newcastle, they're confident that Owen Craigie was able to spin around and get the football down. They'll also look as to whether Owen Craigie was behind the kicker, Andrew Johns. So a couple of things in this video replay. A lovely kick from Andrew Johns. All set up nicely for the chasers. Let's just have a look goes to the line, drops it on the foot. Craigie's onside.
No problem there. The video referee asked to see that first before he moved one step further up. And there's no problem with that. Now, if he calls for another replay of the put down, then obviously he agrees with us.
Well, this should show it up nicely here. Owen Craigie spinning out of the tackle. Phillips is there, so too Torrens. That's a try.
That's a try for sure. And let's get back to it now. It was another beautifully executed try. They played the ball so quickly, Paul. They had Manly on the back foot.
Well, they did, but it all once again came from a Manly mistake. You know, a pass thrown by Cliff Lyons. It went to ground. Here we are 5 tackles later down the other end of the field. And Owen Craigie, it's one advantage, I suppose, to have a 100-kilo plus centre in your team. Manly's outside backs are midgets. I've got to say that. They're all probably around the 11, 12 stone mark. And Craigie's just too big for them.
And again, the good option of running the football on the last tackle. Many of the Manly players were sitting back waiting for them to kick the football. It happened, but a lot later than they expected, because Andrew Johns went to the line. Some tremendous athleticism there from Owen Craigie to take the football out of the air, bump off a player, spin around, and carry 2 over.
Third try for Newcastle, 18-6. The previous tries were converted from difficult positions. This is not easy either for Andrew. 10 in from touch, 20 yards to make it 20-6. Just inside 9 minutes of the first half remaining. Got it away lovely. And another 2 points to Newcastle. What value is he to the team, Andrew Johns? Priceless, I would think, is the answer. 20 points to 6 the score. Well, just on that point, I go back to blokes like Sterling and Mortimer, and of course a young Alan Langer. I don't think I've seen anything quite as sensational as Andrew Johns, and I hate to think about it, but I've been around for 30 years doing this business.
Well, and longer, Ravs.
No, don't be stupid.
The thing about Andrew Johns is he's the complete player, isn't he? He can kick goals with the best of them. Defensively, he's like carrying an extra forward there, and he's got great vision with the football. There's not one aspect of the game that he isn't extremely proficient in.
And we've seen all of them today, Peter. One of the tackles on Tierney that forced him back into the in goal was a perfect example of his defence.
And I've got no doubt he's the best kicker in general play in the competition.
Craigie against Sterlo with a big run down the left flank. McDougall joins in. Manly's trying to recover. McDougall comes off the right foot, gets it away for Billy Beaton. He's put down a metre from the line. Newcastle really throwing it about. That ball has bounced backwards. It's with Matthew Johns. A long pass away for Gidley. Brogan, a chance for 2 tries. He's not going to score it, but Tony Butterfield does. Tony Butterfield scores for Newcastle, 24-6. And the Premiers are running riot at Brookvale.
What's Butts doing out there? Craigie through the tackle of Torrens, pushed off Hunter. Thought he might have passed the touch too early, but McDougall beat the tackle of Phillips. And as Billy Peden got pulled down agonisingly close to the try line by Luke Phillips, and a diving Torrens again coming, all they had to do was get the ball to the far side. The pass went astray, and we freeze it here. Look at the Manly players trying to get across here. There's another 3 Newcastle players out here, and as play continues on, one of them is Tony Butterfield. The long pass to Gidley, straight on to Grogan, step back inside Hopewate, and the little ball juggled by Tony Butterfield was still placed over the line.
I've just got a little question mark on that last pass, but, you know, Craigie on Torrens, if Terry Hill was out there today, there's no way Craigie would have got through Terry. Lesson being learnt. Torrens today gave Craigie too much latitude in that initial break. You've got to get right up close to him, give him no room. And Butterfield gets his first try for 98, and he's played strongly as well.
Superb effort by Big Butterfield even to be there. McDougall is playing strongly. It doesn't surprise me. A few people have got him in their stateside. 10 in from touch, and Andrew Johns has missed one. So the scoreboard, 24-6, Newcastle over Manly. Another look at the try, Steve.
And this is where it all started. The bus coming out of their own half, the long ball from Johns. And have a look at the strength of this bloke, Craig. He's some poor defence. But the best teams in the competition, like Brisbane and Newcastle, can support the football. There's players everywhere for Newcastle. And from the play the ball, Peden plays it. And then we see the easy try out wide.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to give a big rap to Luke Phillips as well, as we see that pass go astray. Eventually Matthew Johns realised they just had to get it out wide. Luke Phillips missed the tackle. I think the last pass, okay. He was on the ground, got up and chased, and collared Peden along with Albert Torrens. A lot of players just would have lay on the ground. He was up and chasing, trying to make up for his mistake.
Butterfield, first man to handle on the restart. And he's had an outstanding game, Tony Butterfield. He hasn't got the finesse, if you like, of the Johns brothers, but my God, he lays a marvellous foundation. Here's Gidley working off a Butterfield pass and then escaping from some fragile tackling. He's got the ball down for Jackson. Jackson back for Grogan. Grogan can see the try line clear the tarmac. He's over again. Grogan scores his second try. Newcastle score their fifth try.
Oh, and the Knights won't want half time to come around because everything is just unfolding for them. This time it's the centres on the other side. Matthew Gidley, he turns John Hopewade inside out. Steps inside, gets out of the clutches of both Hopewade and Lyons, pushes off another defender, beats Phillips, finds Lee Jackson. Great effort from the hooker to be there. And then Grogan, well, he's got the jump on Craig Hancock, who also had been turned around. A simple try, but you've got to say Newcastle took it well after some awful defence from the Seagulls.
Well, I hate to use this word when describing Manly defence, but it is absolutely pathetic on this occasion. There's 3 or 4 tackles there, easy ones that should have been made, and they weren't. Lack of concentration, lack of discipline, and this could turn into anything if Manly don't pick themselves up. But it's great play by Newcastle on the other hand. Fantastic display of running rugby league.
Grogan with 2 tries for the afternoon. And that try came after 35 minutes. Hard to believe they were comprehensively beaten by Brisbane as Andrew Johns picks up a further 2. So the scoreboard, let's check that. 30 points to 6 as we go to Steve, and another look at the replay.
Well, they can hurt you all over the park. Again, it's Butterfield with a little set play. Beautiful hands there from Butterfield. And I had this kid in my Australian side on the bench. I won't be surprised if he's in the State of Origin side or on the bench. Beautiful offloading. Again, the support play magnificent for the Newcastle Knights. And Grogan goes over unopposed.
It's not so many years ago that Grogan was the number one winger at Newcastle. They parted company, I think, for 12 months before he went back. But I tell you what, he's laying claims to a permanent berth.
And has done so after serious illness as well in the last season or two. I think he was out of the game for a long, long time, lost a lot of weight. So to force his way back into the starting lineup, it's testimony to the determination.
Peter Shields, Jackson, Richards, running it at Kallela and Field. They bury his head in the NRL logo, and now it's gone wide for Matthew Johns to pick up a second man. O'Davis with a flick pass, and they've got a defensive cordon around Gidley that time. Now Andrew Johns, and his kick going straight down to Luke Phillips. Put away by the tackle of Shields. Torrens got away from Jackson, crosses the halfway. Here comes O'Davis. O'Davis doesn't secure the tackle. Torrens still going down to the Newcastle 20-metre line. To be there. Field getting it wide. Lyons inside for Hopewade. Bends off one, taken by O'Davis. He's covered a lot of ground to get back there. Now Lyons. Lofted pass. Field. Tuvey. Then a second man play. Kosef, and the pass is put down by Torrens. and Craigie for Newcastle comes up with it.
Only had to catch and pass to Andrew Hunter for a try in the corner. Just couldn't control it.
The tackles both teams have had to make as we just see a bomb try from the Eagles. Just had to pass it. Once again, lack of concentration. He did well to make the initial bust, Torrens, but some good play there from Newcastle, but out of danger. There's the tackles.
Did he mean to pass it?
That is one of the reasons that Newcastle are winning by 30 points to 6.
Matthew Johns.
They've had no ball men.
On his own 20-metre line. Sorry, Paul. I thought you stopped twice.
I'm doing it hard here, Ravi.
You are doing it hard. Talk about losing weight. Peter was talking about Brett Grogan. I reckon Fatty's lost a stone in 40 minutes. Anyway, this kick has come down satisfactorily for Andrew Hunter and put to ground by Craigie and McDougall. They're having fine games, aren't they, the outside backs for Newcastle. Tuvey looking for somebody to come off him. Lyons is the dummy half. We're right on the halfway line. We're almost on the half-time break as Tierney's pass goes to ground and Matthew Johns looks for pace. Grogan's thinking about a treble. Grogan pulled down. Beautiful cover tackle by Craig Field. And Grogan to play it 9 metres from the line. O'Davis with a long pass. Matthew Johns even longer. Andrew Johns short pass. Peden gets it away. It came off the feet of a Manly player. He's offside. Well, he's let it go. The pass came off the feet of Kalila to Lyons, who I thought was offside. And it should have been a penalty, but I suppose at 30 points to 6, we're not about to argue. And what a sensational half of football. In the first 60 seconds, Manly were in awful trouble with injury, and then Newcastle has unleashed an unmerciful attacking display. We will break and come back to see if it continues in just a moment. Something that personally I think they should be doing more of, particularly against the Newcastle side. Here's Field. Not as though Manly haven't got the players to do it. They've got fast, nippy little blokes that can do it. And get Newcastle backpedaling a bit. O'Davis now on the bring back. Over his 20-metre line. Menzies makes the tackle underneath and Taylor goes over the top.
I'd also be very surprised if both coaches just didn't say to their team as McDougall finds Gidley and in turn Grogan that every set of 6 they get works through it. Good ball from Grogan. He was going into touch. That's put a bit of pressure on Fletcher, but he does well. That's the whole idea of this second half for both teams. When they've got the football, treat it like gold.
Big Harrigan winding it up. Then getting a pass away. Beautiful work. Johns. That incident back there with Grogan, just a matter of 2 plays back. I mean, that's just so typical of the bounce of the ball and what they are prepared to do. Here's Billy Peden. Took the field with an injury. He was there 60 seconds and we lost him. He's back out there now, though, as you can see. And Andrew Johns' kick stands up for Luke Phillips. And he sends Hancock back to them. And Jackson was the first man there to make the tackle. Phillips comes away, and again Jackson makes the tackle with Harrigan's assist. Tuvey then to Tierney, and Andrew Johns meets him. And Gidley came in to wrap up the big front row forward, but surely there's no need for Andrew Johns to be in that. Oh, they've lost it Manly, and they're going to give Newcastle... No. Trying to work out what he ruled there. Referee, he gave an indication that I don't think I've seen before, but here it is.
He's saying that he's dropped it back and it bounced forward, so it was play on. Not touched by the Newcastle player, although Robbie O'Davis gets a touch now and takes it. Ooh, 45 out. Beat field, couldn't beat the tackle of Taylor.
Now it's with Matthew, and then another Matthew Gidley, and now McDougall. A flick pass back for Peden, and Peden is tackled 45 metres away from the Manly line. McDougall again. Big and very fast. Look at size out there, Newcastle. It's Craigie and McDougall, and here's the Johns brothers putting it together again. One, then the other again, then back on the inside for Butterfield. Oh, Tony Butterfield has scored 2 tries on one day. Oh, it's a big Mother's Day for Butterfield.
Yes, he's the player that we profiled before the game. And big butts, 2 tries and both out wide. You don't see him scouting out there too often, but it was set up by the Johns Magic again. The pass back inside, it beat Stephen Menzies, and then the final pass thrown by Matthew. Nice Tony Butterfield backing up on the inside. And why wouldn't you back these kids up? You'd fair dinkum just follow them all over the park, because they'll put it on a platter for you.
Well, he's an absolute try-scoring machine, Tony Butterfield. Absolute machine. There's a miss there once again out wide, that time for Menzies. And Johns had drawn Luke Phillips, open line for Butts.
Butts is it now?
He can't believe it.
He's joined the illustrious
Butsy.
Kevy and Gilly.
Butsy
and now
boy.
It's Butsy.
Butsy boy.
Yes, good on you. Good on you. Tony, marvellous day for you. 2 tries. He scored a total of, I think, 20 in his career. And that's 19 coming into the day.
That's in 170 first-grade games, and you can bet every one of the 170 has been of the same quality and played in the same fashion.
So Andrew Johns with another attempt for 2 points. He's missed on 1 occasion from 6 attempts. This one he hit sweetly. A further 2 points to the total. Newcastle running right away from Manly. 36 points to 6, and we're 6 minutes into the second half. Hopewadi then in the centre of the ground. Tuvey away from dummy half. And a quick play, the ball is wanted. Field is there. I thought they might have done it again. Kalema came onto it. Now they've made some very good yards, and Tuvey has laid the foundation for it. 11 metres out from the Newcastle line. Field coming across and picking up Kosef, angling back, and then onto Field, supporting well. Menzies gets a pass around the corner for Hopewadi to score. Second try of the day for Manly. And it was laid on by Jeff Tuvey, turning Newcastle around, and then a quick play the ball.
Yeah, just about Manly's best passage there as Hopewadi comes back holding his hand. Craig Field going to the line, pops it up to Kosef. The second phase play gets going. Field again involved. Menzies attracting 2. Matthew Johns couldn't stop the pass being thrown around the back to John Hopewadi. And it will be too little too late, but it just shows what this Manly side are capable of when they put all their talents to their best use.
Oh, it's the start of the comeback, no doubt about it, for the Eagles. There's 2 tests out there in the second half. For Manly, it's their pride at stake to play well, and for Newcastle, they've got to try and go on with it. If their intensity drops, then Mel really will think they failed today.
Half an hour of the game remaining. The attempted conversion from Phillips is waved away as it hits the uprights. 36 to 10, and this is how the Manly try came. Stephen.
All day, hasn't he, out in the centre, Stephen Menzies. It's Kosef, who's been their best player again today, who gets the offload. Field involved for the second time, and Menzies, the one arm, around the corner, and Hopewadi unopposed.
And that try comes back, of course, to Owen Craigie losing the football in his own half. And that's what the test is for Newcastle in Malcolm Riley's mind, is to, okay, go on with this, but do so in a methodical and a controlled manner. They don't want to get too fancy-free with the football, because Manly can hurt them and they can score quick points.
Penalty to the home side. And it is Craig Field who will find the line. He doesn't go for too much. 30 metres out from their own line. For Tierney now. Reading one journalist suggesting this might be the last confrontation between Bob Fulton and Mel Reilly here today, with Mel's intentions to return home. I suppose there's still a chance they might be face-to-face as national coaches. Menzies now starts. Oh, gee, did he injure himself there? He dropped, he fell badly on a knee. Just watching him. No, he's okay. Kosef unloading. Field. And then Luke Phillips into the back line, into a gap. Oh, ankle tapping tackle by Grogan, not secured. And then it's Gartner. The pass goes to ground and Newcastle come up with it with O'Davis.
Well, Matthew Gidley can thank Brett Grogan for saving a try on that occasion, because Gidley raced up out of the line, presented the gap, and it looked as though Phillips was sliding straight through until Grogan came up with the tackle. This is the end play with Gartner trying to get his arm free, and again going astray.
This is Neil Pincinelli. His team successful last night over Western Sub, his old team I should say, over the Magpies, and congratulations to Rod Wishart, a big return to the game. Good luck to you, Rod. 30 metres out from the Newcastle line, on the bounce for Andrew, sweeping it wide for Matthew, and now they're queued up on the outside. 17 is Peden, out very, very wide. Back and across into the hands of Andrew. The kick is too big, is it? No, it's bounced just inside the touchline, and a scrum will fall.
It's the third kick today that Andrew Johns has had come off the outside of his boot. It's very rare to see that happen. As I said earlier, I believe that he's the best kicker in general play in the entire competition. The two went straight to Luke Phillips in the first half off the side, and someone a little bit fortunate to stay in, not going out on the full.
Tonight, you can chat live on the internet with Steve Blocker-Roach. Website address, sports.9msn.com.au. Live chat on the website with Steve Roach. And Jeff Tooby comes off. And if you don't get through to Steve, you can talk to his wife, Kat. And at that time of a Sunday night, it's almost an identical conversation. Now it's Kalila. You there, big fella?
I'm just listening. Can you ring me or something? Just one call, Ravi.
I'll certainly be talking to you. Now, this is Brown on the halfway line. And across for Tierney. And then Kalila. The tackle has forced the ball out. Craigie picks it up. I'm just looking to see if the referee has ordered that this was knocked down by Newcastle, and that's what he's done. And he's called Owen Craigie back.
Yeah, no doubt there that Matthew Johns, I think, was the player, got his arm in between the passer and the intended receiver. Going up. Kalila offloading off the arm of Matthew Johns. Owen Craigie, he picked it up. Jeff Tooby. Again, the battered face of Jeff Tooby. Really does cop a hiding, but he keeps running for more.
Cosset in the back of the scrum, using the winger. Newcastle were inside the 5. At the scrum base. He must have penalised the left or blind winger. He certainly was the only one over there that could have infringed. This is Big Brown. Manly, can they put another one on the board? Tierney, 36-10. 25 minutes remaining. Field, Lyons, and then Menzies. Got it away for Phillips. And it's a penalty to Newcastle for a double movement against Luke Phillips.
That's some better play from the Eagles. Nice play there. Cut-out ball to Steve Menzies and a short ball. Beautiful pass from Menzies.
No, I think it's a try.
Yeah, I think it's a try as well.
In fact, he did very well not to touch the ground.
He had no hesitation, Stephen Clark.
Did see a worse one awarded against North Queensland.
Watch this again. I'm interested to see whether the ball actually touches the ground when... No, see... Oh, no. I can't see how that's not a try.
Well, his elbows hit the ground, but I still believe the momentum has taken the ball across the line. I don't think he's pushed the ball forward at all deliberately.
Once again, in that situation, Stephen Clark, I'm wondering why he wouldn't have used the video referee.
Yeah, but the arm carrying the ball's hit the ground. I understand that, but what are you supposed to do in that case? Not ground the football.
He's entitled to ground the football.
I would have thought you're entitled to ground the football. Anyway, he's ruled a double movement. Newcastle have taken the tap free. And from the restart, it's Fletcher. And now Butterfield. Have a look at him. Still going. He's like that battery commercial. Now Shields. I saw him back at Marathon, I think it was, and he's thrown into a game earlier in the season. He really had a superb game that day. I don't know that his form has been as high since. Now the Johns brothers start to ignite something. That's Craigie playing left centre. This is the last. He'll kick to the blind side. It's got a ricochet back for Phillips. And they're all on side as Phillips, with very good evasive work, is pulled down by Craigie. 26 points the margin, 57th minute, elapsing. Hunter. Field sweeping it down the blind side, answering the call from Gartner. Tuvey waits to come back into the game with Taylor. And 16 is Brown. Field again to the right, to the lookalike, Tierney. Ball has been left behind, and it looks to me as though it's been knocked down by Newcastle. And he will probably give Manly the loose head and feed here, I would think. There it is there. Andrew Johns deflects the ball, and that would be a knock-on against him. So it'll be a Manly loose head and feed, if I've read it correctly. Fed by Field, and Tuvey playing in the match again now. It's held by Richards. They just haven't had an answer, Manly. Mind you, nothing really was going for them. Possession was incredibly against them. Injuries in the first minute didn't help either, but playing against a team like Newcastle in the mood they were in was going to be a difficult task for anybody. Gartner appealing for a penalty. Kosef. Long pass for Craig Field, and then Field on for Torrens. They're just beyond the 30-metre line. Cross now by Field. And then he puts a cross kick in, but it's a mile too deep. And it'll come back to the 20-metre line for the restart. Well, the thought might have been okay if he had have told somebody about it. But then the kick was far too weighty. Richards. I think indicated that he played the ball forward.
He said accidentally kicked the ball forward.
Yeah.
I don't see why that was pulled up either, I must admit. As Craig Field leaves the ground, Cook Lyons coming back on. Robbie O'Davis has also been given, could be an early mark from Malcolm Reilly. Did very, very well his first game back from injury.
So Manly winning the scrum, 25 metres out from the line. Tuvey it is. And then from Torrens, they send Kosef towards the hillside touchline. Manly now with a big back line out to the left as Colella takes one more play. And now the sweep back along this back line from Kosef, Tuvey, Lyons, Hopewadi, and pulled down by Gidley. Fourth tackle, Taylor. Lyons. His right foot bomb is very accurate. Oh, lovely take by McDougall. Right up above them.
And an even better play. The ball allows Owen Craigie to pick up 15 metres. I think that Adam McDougall has played his way into a sky blue jersey this afternoon, if he wasn't already in the side. Again, a good offload from him to Lee Jackson.
Shields. Grief. Johns. And a neat little kick. Andrews after it. Hancock. Hancock is knocked on. No, he's ruled knocked backwards. Well, I'm not going to argue with him, but it looked horribly sus. Let's watch it again.
Yeah, it's a knock-on.
Yeah, I think you find it's a knock-on, but it's nitpicking, really. Very much like the play the ball down the other end of the ground from the Newcastle players. Oh, Taylor. Gee, you're very lucky. You're very lucky. Joey Taylor just inside the touch line. Nick Kosef. And Kalila. Lyons waving them around him. Torrens. Lyons again. Looking for Hunter on that right flank. Badeiras coming up with it. McDougall. He's a flashy player. Very much like his dad. Jackson using the blind. Shields cannons into them. Craigie, McDougall taken down by Cliff Lyons eventually. Jackson. Matthew Johns. Pinchinelli gives him a decoy run. Andrew Johns back to his brother Matthew. Matthew inside the 20. Flick passes. Badeiras couldn't handle, and Manly gets the advantage.
Did you see that little play there between the Johns brothers?
No, I didn't. It was that good.
It's too quick for me.
How good was that? Beautiful quickly.
A penalty going Manly's way, and with State of Origin selection just around the corner. And if McDougall has played his way in, a lot of pressure being exerted by a man just about to get the football back now, Matthew Johns. I know that Daly and Fittler will be the preferred 5'8" lock forward, you would believe, but gee, I'd find it very hard to leave Matthew Johns out. He's been superb this afternoon, especially defensively. Very, very tough.
I didn't see your State of Origin side. I was just going to put the question to you. Did either of you put Andrew and Matthew Johns in the run-on side?
Well, I think, and I've heard a little bit of a whisper around, that if Terry Hill isn't fit to play State of Origin, and that may be the case, then we would see Daly in the centres and Matthew Johns at 5'8". He'll be in the 17 for sure.
I think you take 30% of their effectiveness away by not having them both in the sides. What do you think, Coach?
Personally, I'd have either Fitley and Daly at 5'8" and centre.
In other words, you wouldn't carry the Johns brothers.
I'd have Andrew there and Matthew on the bench.
Lyons' bomb. Badeiras, so he saved it. Only just, but he saved it. This is Gidley.
And this is another player, as Steve Roach has pointed out, who might come into the selectors' equation too. Matthew Gidley would be a fine player off the bench. This bloke will be there for sure. He picks up another 10 metres.
You can see why the job is difficult for Tony Butterfield to get a jumper. You've got Harrigan and Howe.
And Lazarus.
Huh?
And Lazarus.
And Lazarus. Still, he wouldn't go astray on the bench, that's for sure. I think that's what Steve was saying. Harvey Norman, State of Origin, Friday week. At the 65th minute, Newcastle has a commanding lead. By comparison with the first half, it's been much quieter, particularly for the scoreboard attendant. Newcastle running in 5 tries in the first stanza. Here's Teddy. Chief Harrigan was on the ground over there. I don't know what he was doing, but he was groping around on the ground. There wasn't a player inside. Now he's got his bearings back as Tuvey goes away. Harrigan makes a flying tackle to bring him down with an assist from Grief. Phillips. Down to Badeiras. Came on earlier to give Jackson some time. Now he's giving O'Davis time on the bench. Grogan has scored 2 tries. As he plays it, Fletcher crossing the halfway. Got a super game coming up for you next Friday as Harrigan unloads. Andrew Matthew does a bit of a dipsy doodle before getting it away to Grogan, and Grogan will play it 40 metres out from the Manly line for Jackson. Grief running straight at Menzies to the 30-metre line. 5 gone. Andrew wants it on the blind side. He's with it. Matthew. Then a face pass. Gidley goes back in. Gee, there must have been close to a shepherd there from Peden. Then Kosef turning it around for Manly. Hancock Menzies. Menzies put down on the 40-metre line for Manly. We're lucky not to give away a penalty there, Newcastle. Billy Peden really got in the road. Here's Lyons going right across the ground, and Torrens is in big space. They're not going to catch Albert. He will get his 2nd try of the day.
Well, it kind of came out of the blue, didn't it? Torrens, who's made a couple of busts this afternoon. Very inexperienced player, but he's done fairly well for Manly again. And Cliff Lyons opens it up on the inside. Louis Jackson was more intent on pushing one of the Manly players out of the way instead of making the tackle, and that's where the gap opened itself up. Louis Jackson coming across, put the shoulder in, and while he was doing that, the man was away.
He's quick, isn't he, Paul?
He's very quick, and they've got high hopes of him here at Manly. Needs a bit more experience, and he'll get that game by game. So Manly have had a good second half, much improved, and that's what the coaching staff are looking at, no doubt about it.
And Phillips from right in front adds a further 2 to the Manly total and to the Manly respectability. 36 points to 16 as we break. Been scored in total as we come back to Brookvale. Sunday afternoon league on the 9 network. Luke Phillips put down 20 metres out from his own line. Friday week, State of Origin. State of Origin 1 live at 7:30 from the Sydney Football Stadium. But next Friday night, you will see Newcastle and North Sydney at 8:30 from Marathon. And that will be a tremendous game of football. Tugi. And Hapawati not able to take it in. Andrew Johns comes away. The pass finds Gidley out wide on the right of the ground. Ooh, he fell awkwardly, Gidley. But he's okay. 43 metres out from the Manly line. And it's Glenn Grief, this nuggety front row forward. Gaining 10. 20 points the margin now. As the Chief comes on, gets rid of it professionally. Andrew John spins away. Matthew carries it on. The pass has got a question mark on it. Craigie for McDougall. 2 beyond McDougall. Hanging on. Torrens complete. 10 metres out. Here they come again. Craigie. Craigie's got his 2nd for the day. 2 for Craigie. 40 points to 16.
Yeah, an involved performance from Owen Craigie this afternoon, and that's what they need from him. Good speed out of dummy half here after McDougall had wrestled around for a little while. I must admit the previous play, I thought the pass was forward from Matthew Johns. But luck's a fortune, and we see Owen Craigie just taking advantage of some lazy defence near their own line. Good quick play of the ball, and Owen Craigie, for a big man, he's got good speed off the mark, and he used it to the best advantage then.
The Manly defence never got set, did it? And Craigie saw that, so a nice piece of play by him, once again using his bulk to get through 4 defenders for a try.
He debuted for the Knights as a 17-year-old. 3 years ago, repped for Australian schoolboys 3 years in a row. And he's a very, very strong centre. We've had some big centres, household names in the game. Blokes like Diamond and Wells from yesteryear. More recently, blokes like Meninga. This bloke's not built as big as them, but he's a compact big man, if I can put it that way. 15 in from touch, into the sun for Joey John. Bangs it. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Lovely, isn't it? Beautiful to watch. Here's the try again for Owen Craigie. Yes, Steve?
Well, how good is he? Only 20 years old, as you mentioned. Just have a look at the way he crouches down in that running style straight away from picking up the football, putting a Manly defence around him, but as Paul said, not set. Have a look at the power. Just keeps the legs moving, stretches out. That's an easy one.
Restart. 8 minutes to go. And Butterfield. 2 tries today and a heap of hit-ups. Very industrious day for Tony Butterfield. Carrigan. Andrew. Matthew. And it's over for Gidley. 43 metres out from the Manly line. These Newcastle centres, they must... This is Pinchinelli, is it? Or, no, it's not. It's Medeiros. 5, Matthew. Andrew. And that ball was okay. Craigie gets it away, and Billy Peden is there backing up to score.
And the try-scoring route continues on their way to 50, the Newcastle Knights. I thought they'd win comfortably today. I didn't think it'd be by this margin. Again, the pass, a little bit of a question mark on it, but it looks okay. And then just straight through the tackle of Torrens once again goes Owen Craigie. Attracts 3 and a beautiful pass to Billy Peden. Another one of these players who just loves to be where the football is.
And have it Manly. I said it in the first half, they've missed Terry Hill. Owen Craigie's given Albert Torrens an absolute bath today. It's tragic for the kid because he's a good young player, but he'll learn from this and come back a better player. And Billy Peden's eased his way back into the Newcastle side with a strong game today.
I think the quality of a player, Paul, is how they make difficult things look easy. And so many of these Manly players do exactly that. That was a difficult pass for Owen Craigie to get back in there. He had the attention of 3 defenders, and he was still able to manufacture a kind of a basketball pass and put it straight on the chest of that man there, Billy Peden. They've even given him the honour of trying to convert his own try.
I think what Peter means is,
well,
as far as he's concerned, this bloke owns the try. Owen Craigie. And his kick is across the face of the upright, so no improvement for Newcastle, but a comprehensive lead of 30 points now. Here it is again, Steve.
Well, they play some razzle-dazzle football too. Something they picked up. It's the last tackle. They run the ball on the last. Craigie again. Look at this ball on the inside. Gene Miles-like. Beautiful pass. And Peden, he's always there.
Yeah, I'd like a greyhound like him. Just keeps chasing.
They're very costly when they won't chase.
We know about those, don't we, Rance?
Had a backyard full of them once. The bludgers would not chase. Harrigan.
Paul Harrigan is a much better player. I thought his last couple of performances have been a little bit below par. I don't know whether he's been carrying injury, but he's a better player when his offload is an afterthought. Not when he goes to the line knowing in his own mind that he's going to get a ball away. He's better when he hits that speed and then the pass just happens.
Honestly, it's a machine-like performance that I'm watching. A penalty goes to Newcastle. And without labouring that point, if you sit back long enough and just watch the players that are involved in everything they do, they each know what they have to do, where they have to be. And I think one thing that is common in all their minds is always be alert enough to get the ball that probably isn't meant for you. And they're all hands on deck, all anticipating that they will be the next player in possession of the football. Manly won President's Cup today, 36-4. 36-4, Manly over Newcastle. As Matthew Johns works it now with Peter Shields, the pass away. Peden puts on a basketball pass. Matthew Johns runs around and then gets a pass out for Craigie. Oh, Craigie's working overtime out there. Now McDougall has put... Lyons went down heavy on him. McDougall will play it 10 metres away from the line. Matthew Johns again. His brother's off at the moment. Now it's out for Gidley. Gidley puts a step off the right foot, puts a flick pass away. Picked up on the second bounce by Matthew Johns, and he's put down. 11 metres from the line. Under 4 minutes to go. Jackson looking around. Who wants it? To the left. He gets a call from Shields, and Shields away for Butterfield. He had a thought in his mind of number 3, did he not? Torrens cleans up for Manly. Nick Cossett. The job of bringing it off your own line, trailing by 30 points. 3 minutes of the match remaining. Not all that inviting, is it? Newcastle's best win over Manly was 14-0 in 1989 at Newcastle. So they've rewritten the record books today. It's also their first win over Manly at Brookvale in 10 years of competition. And they've consolidated their grand final victory from last year. Comprehensively. Crowd today, 13,048. And a few mums amongst them. And again to the most important people in the world, I hope you have a great day. I hope you've had a great day. Those of you that have still got one, you are very lucky people. Jackson now. Harrigan. He's done that well today. Jackson knocks on. But the Chief has finally honed the art of taking the defence on, hitting, spinning and offloading. And it seemingly, Steve Roach, and you're the man to talk about this, it has improved dramatically in the last couple of years.
Well, he's got better with age, hasn't he, the Chief? I mean, he would be the leading front rower in the whole game now, with Lazarus coming back from injury last year. But, yeah, that's certainly a part of the game that's really improved for the Chief, his offloading skills. I'd like to see him do a little bit before the line, too, make him an even better player.
Yeah. I remember calling some of his matches many years ago, say 6 or 7 years ago, when Sargent was with him. And Harrigan's main go was just to take it up and try and run through the brick wall with no thought of an offload.
Well, Manly believe they should have got a penalty there. Jamie Bennett, his first touch of the match. Like the second tackle might have taken him over. Wayne Richards in some trouble on this side of the field as well. The referee and the touch judge said that's okay from Brett Grogan.
Final few seconds of this game. So 2 big Fridays coming up. Next Friday, Marathon, and Friday week, State of Origin 1. Some great football coming to you on the 9 Network exclusively. As Newcastle win the last scrum of the game, they kick, and Manly are rushing back because McDougall's coming fast. McDougall's going to score! Oh my goodness gracious me! What a way to finish! He never gave up, McDougall. Manly had 4 players against him. They were herring it. It was a foot race. And McDougall miraculously has capitalised on the Manly mistake. So indicative of what's happened here since the kickoff.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of persevering, never giving up. 3 Manly players looked to have it covered. Poor Jamie Bennett, his second touch, not a particularly auspicious one. And McDougall, he just kept going through. He could have dropped off 20 metres earlier and not been on hand to score the try. Talk about luck. You've got to be in a position to take advantage of it, and Adam McDougall put himself there.
They've made the half century. I just turned to get a comment from the fat man, but he's down. He's like a Christmas turkey. His legs are in the air. He is absolutely gone.
There's the conversion attempt. It's unsuccessful. Newcastle 50, Manly 16. We'll be back shortly with our man of the match.
The final minute to win this one for Newcastle. 50-16, they've defeated the Manly side. A complete rout, 9 tries to 3. They were much too good. Our man of the match, we couldn't go past Andrew Johns, superb in every facet of the game. He takes 3 points in the Dally M's, 2 to Tony Butterfield, 1 to Owen Craigie. Do check the Daily Telegraph and the Courier Mail tomorrow for all the points. 2 other games played today. Sydney City have defeated Brisbane 26-12 in Brisbane, and the Bears too good for the Rabbitohs 26-14. Completion of round 9, 5 teams on top of the ladder. One of those are the Newcastle Knights, who feature again next Friday night against the North Sydney Bears at the Marathon Stadium. That will be a beauty. But today they were much too good. 50-16. On behalf of the Channel 9 crew, it's bye for now.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports, your Commonwealth Games network.